and I knew who I wanted to do it. Public Enemy. 31 years later, that's become the anthem during this whole uprising now. People are going to the streets blasting Fight the Power.
That's the voice of the iconic Spike Lee. We had him on the show recently. We live, 888-742-3345. And Heather B talked to him about Fight the Power and how powerful that song was when it was made and how relevant that song is now, 30-plus years later. We have one of the authors of that song, the voice behind that song, the iconic, the legendary, the fighter, always on the front lines. He done taken heat, have the beef from the government, from local officials, state officials, to media critics, to communities all across the board, and he's still standing. You saw him on the BET Awards just last night. As I said, my daughter and I celebrated his fight, his voice, his power. The one and only legendary Chuck D is on Sway in the Morning. Give him a big round of applause. Whoa.
Yeah.
Come on.
Y'all know I'm not worthy.
Come on.
I got the morning Get Up Barry White 1974. Soul Train Don Cornelius interview voice.
Yeah, I like it. Chuck, you don't drink coffee in the morning, man? What you do? What's your morning routine?
Listen, you know what's crazy? I never had coffee in my life. I've never tasted coffee in my life. I know that's 60 years of no coffee.
Damn, that's crazy.
I had coffee cake.
Okay.
Coffee cake.
Yo,
I never had coffee.
That cackle in the background, I know you recognize it. He's been on the show plenty of times, man. He's our brother and one of the most iconic producers to ever come out of hip hop. The one and only DJ Premier is here too. Round of applause.
Wait.
What up, everybody? What up?
One of the only, yo, man, Primo, man, right here with this joint right here. I think he's number one because I called Primo, right? I said, Primo, back in the early 90s, that's when you knocked out Sonny Liston. This one, you knocked out George Foreman. So, yo, go figure, man. It's a long road of knocking cats out with hard banging, boom, bap, smacks.
There it is, DJ Premier. And Rich Nice is with us, too, your favorite producer. Rich, I'm sorry your intro don't sound like theirs, but we intro you every week. Give it up for Rich Nice.
Rich,
good,
I'll be playing your music on my rap station, man.
And Chuck, man, it's just, it just feels good to be with these two great guys.
Absolutely. Chuck.
Hey, Rich, you got to bring back the Derby.
Oh, it's back. It's coming back for the summer.
All right. That's the first video I ever saw you in, so I haven't seen you wearing it lately.
I got you.
Hey, Chuck, let me ask you this. You talk about Premier in this production and what he's been able to do throughout his career, man, but I don't hear enough about the Bomb Squad. Like, what do you see? To me, the Bomb Squad just helped and mold a whole mindset of behind music over the years. What do you see the Bomb Squad's place in history?
We like the Motown hit machine, man, with Hank Shockley at the head, Keith Shockley, Eric Vietnam Sadler, and myself. See, back then you didn't have automated boards or anything like that, so we all had a mission to make one song. So it was no different than the Hitsville team of, with Berry Gordy, Holland, Doja Holland, and we all dug in. Everybody had specific roles, and at the end of the day, you had to have somebody to make all sense of the noise because, people just think you just throw noise on there and then that would be the Public Enemy signature because I was weird with what I felt. Matter of fact, I tried to make music my girlfriend didn't like. She liked Luther Vandross and all that. I tried to destroy everything she played, so I was trying to find the opposite type of music. So at the end of the day, that was the signature for Public Enemy because I liked it and I was a writer. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, Hank was making that mix, and you had to make that mix sound like, some kind of, something. So it was funny. It would be Eric Sadler is the musician, and we come from DJ culture. So that friction back and forth of, nah, man, it don't need to be music. No, you need to hit the notes. Nah, that's what made it. So It was truly an assembly team. And, you know, we get our props all over the world, man. It's a big world out there. Like, you know, like Primo will tell you, like being Primo, like we've been through collectively like 11 passports.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come back in the United States discussion, man, people only know what they see and what they know. And even that brings us up to what is a politic right now. Mm-hmm. When State of the Union came out, every time I saw the hash mark SOTU, in my mind, I kept saying, shut the fuck up. So I kept that in my register. I don't know if it was going to be a Prophet of Rage thing or whatever, but I kept that in my register. It was only like 16 letters. And basically that's a knock because you got the whole world looking at this dude as a clown, 45. And then you got half this country, or maybe a little bit more than half this country, saying this dude's a clown. And I remember this dude, I had beef with this guy since Central Park 5, so it's personal with me. And I'm not saying that whatever has happened to him, but I just think we need to nix him now. He needs to get sick like Nixon and just leave. So that's where all that's come out of. So the world has a point of view that's different just from somebody figuring out they've been disenfranchised in the streets of America, because the rest of the world is looking for change too, and it's been corrupted. Right now, y'all can't leave the country and just go wherever you want freely. So obviously, this is an infraction on our rights that needs to be addressed.
Some of these lyrics, unprecedented, demented, many-precedented, Nazi, Gestapo, dictator, defended. It's not what you think, it's what you follow. Run for them jewels, drink from the bottle. Another 4 years going to get you all hollow, gutted out, dried up, broke, and can't borrow. We played this song on the air, and I swear all day I got all kind of responses from it. Some people couldn't believe we played it, and we continue to play it, and some people just thought it was blasphemous. What kind of response have you received, and do you even care?
Well, we've been knowing each other a long time, Sway. As soon as everybody break out all the bottles, I'm gone. I get in my rented, Chevy Cruze or whatever, and I'm on the road with everybody, talking about. I think we have the mission and the goal. The wonderful thing with my brother Primo, and we've been brothers for like 30 years, through a lot of different things, right? On tour together, roller coaster rides, and the whole nine, is that last year we toured on Gods of Rap tour throughout Europe. And the thing is, I found that we were kindred spirits because at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, the brother, and we laugh about this because our code is called Tums. Just like I never drank coffee, I never knew what Tums was, or I ate past a certain hour. And Primo said, listen, you want to try these? I said, what the fuck are these? He said, some Tums. And matter of fact, my man is part of my crew. He's from Africa. He got African Tums and African Rolaids. And I never knew what anti-acid pills were. So then I got hooked on Tums. So I knock on his door. It'd be like 1:53 a.m. And I said, yo, Pre, you got some Tums? And he said, yeah. He gave me a whole bag. And I looked in the back of Primo's room, and it's set up like Star Trek. And it's like he got computers, he's making beats, he's doing radio shows. I said, bro, your room looks just like mine at 1:53 a.m.
Hey,
and that was the seed of knowing that we kindred spirits, man, because here we are in our hotel rooms, respectively, at 2:15 in the morning, working on hip hop. I'm a 23-hour a day hip hop crazy head, and Primo is too. So this was a no-brainer. So this song came together where, the lyrics came in 24 hours. I'm pretty economical. And Primo said, yo, man, I got that to match, brother. And that was that.
Preem, I heard, and Chuck, you could speak on it, when y'all recorded State of the Union, that Chuck did it in one take. Did you do your verse in one take?
Wow. Yeah, well, he sent me a text saying, hey, I got this chant I want to repeat, and that was the whole State of the Union, shut the fuck up, sorry-ass motherfucker, stay away from me. So he texted me that. He said, I want that chant to continue. He said, Flav's going to do that hook. And I was like, I was thinking more interlude mode, like the way they do all the PE interludes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So and then I'm also thinking on a stage, whenever they do perform that, I could see the whole crowd just chanting that. So I said, I'm not going to make the track, too musical. It should just be more of a standard loop that just has a ring to it. And I just threw that the little nuances in there, like little hey jab and stuff. So it kind of had my version of a Bomb Squad bite without being a biter. And I said to the Chuck, and literally not even 24 hours, he's like, yo, I said 3 verses. I'm like, God damn.
The first ones I said you were unsuccessful. And then Primo, the polite gentleman that he is, he was like, I could work with this. And I was like, And the next day I was like, I don't know, man. I think we could get more economical on the words. And Primo, he sent me a thumbs up. He says, okay, that's the Chuck I want. So that's the type of thing that you can even do together and yet socially distance. And you have to be a kindred spirit. You have to love this. You have to love this game, and you have to love also getting knocked on your ass. And that's the story of me. I mean, I don't really look at success stories. I look at getting knocked on my ass, and when I do succeed, it's for everybody else's victory. I'm a serviceman, and I treat this like going to the military. Hip hop is my military, man. So I don't really jump around shaking to the lights after victories. I don't really consider that. I mean, we set the path, we lay the road. We got gravel trucks, and then everybody could ride their Lamborghini on it. I don't care,
Wow. Chuck D is on the line with DJ Premier, Rich Nice, too. Chuck, you've been called a lot of things, from anti-Semitic, I've heard homophobic, the
heathen, bastard. Yeah, go look for the name. Keep putting the names on it, man.
Yo, man, they done ran you through the mud, Chuck, but none of
it. Smart ass nigga, smart ass Negro. They can go whatever, man. It's pile it on, whatever. What's next?
Yeah, what's next? But how did it ever get to you, or how do you stay the course? Because you got a lot of freedom fighters now that are being crucified by the media, that are being slandered, that are being ripped apart. Like, how do you stay the course? And you never faltered. You never fell off your square. Like, you made a song, Fight the Power, 30-plus years ago that still speaks volumes to this day. Was there ever a time that you wanted to just, pack it up?
No, I take long drives, and the thing about it ain't about me. Remember, I came in here saying, yo, bum rush the show. You don't bum rush the show as one man. I never did no song by my damn self. I've always partnered with some energy, and the energy is what it's about. So, I think I have a lyric that says, don't let a win get to your head or a loss go to your heart. I said that when he got game. And I think that's the epitome of what I always thought. So I'm a service person for hip-hop and rap music. I have a 10-station channel network, internet called Rap Station. And all we do, we're like minor leagues. Matter of fact, we supply you guys with charts and hard workers that look intrinsically into hip-hop and rap music, because I think it's the greatest genre of all time, and I fight for that. And so I don't take a loss seriously. Matter of fact, when I win, you don't never see me shaking to the lights like, ooh, I won. I mean, that's just not for me. This is a sport for me. And I make the tackle, I sack the quarterback, and I wait for the offense. So, I mean, that's what it is. And it's fun to do it, to be blessed to do it, and be, going on 60 or August 1st, man. I think the rare air is people like Ice-T, who's 61, 62, and Flavor 61. I'm right behind them. So to be able to spit at a high level, play stadiums around the world when before the pandemic, even as of last year, I played with Prophets of Rage for 4 years, and that was me and my brother Be Real, and Rage Against the Machine and DJ Lord, and we played to 4 million people the last 4 years. So these things actually hone your craft. If my brother Be Real, man, sharpened my swords as well. Yeah. So, and he's the Alpha 1 MC, and I decided to say, listen, I could be the Alpha 2 MC instead of the leader. So you always sharpen your swords, especially when it comes down to other music too. And I learned how to even really sharpen my swords back in the day in 1991 with Anthrax. I thought we were hard. I went and played with Anthrax, and it was speed and power. And you go back and look at hip hop after doing rock and metal and stuff like that, and say, "Oh, this is easy," because that stuff is a trial, and you got to protect your body. My first time I ever got on a private jet was when I was 56, and Prophets of Rage. And so when I was seeing young artists go around getting on private jets and they barely got an album out, I was like, y'all not really understanding how great this is. And for me, it worked not because of the props and the perks, but because your body needs the rest the next day. We athletes at a high level doing that type of stuff. And you notice that even Public Enemy, we never walked around like with, cereal box in our back pocket, just taking our time. It's like, it's a serious workout, man. It's like boxing.
Yeah.
Because, you moving around, you jumping around, you got to spit at the same time. So a lot of time when people see us, they're like, oh, my God, it's like that. You either do the songs or the songs do you. And you can't be in a situation with this type of music to have the songs do you. You got to attack the songs. So that goes with everything in life, man. It's like when you travel, you got to have your immune system strong. Because if your immune system is not strong and you go down, you get sick on the road. God help you wherever you at. So this has always been the modem that we've had to add a chapter and availability to hip-hop that people can follow. But it's not going to be washing up on your shore like a beach. You got to go at it. So that goes in the music, where you're making the music, the songs, the point of view. You're getting in front of a fan. You get in front of a fan that might never saw you, but their father or mother might have saw you back 30 years ago. When they see you in 2020 or 2019 and 2021, you got to go at it like they never, ever, ever, ever would see anything like that again. Looking at DJ Premier on tour last year, DJ Premier was a host of our tour, and you got Wu-Tang, you had Enemy Radio, our component. You also had, De La Soul, and smashing 15 to 20,000 people. And Premier is introducing the legend to the action. That's the key. Can you introduce the legend to the action? Because they already know the legend of DJ Premier and others. But seeing them in front of the face, Premier is putting it down like, look, you heard about me, but when you leave seeing me, you're going to be shaking your head. And that's exactly, these things are inspiring. They're inspiring. And we relish off other people's victories. And that's, if anybody had to say the difference between hip-hop back in the day and also where it could be maybe the last 5 or 10 years, is that we championed each other. Yeah. We wanted others to win. Trust me, we didn't want to get beat by our comrades. Like, for example, Eric B. and Rakim. At the end of this, they said peace. But you better believe every minute of that show, they was out to take your head off, and they was whooping that ass. Same thing, Guru and Premier. Same thing, Cypress Hill. Same thing with many of the acts. And we come out of that Run DMC, Beastie Boys, LL Cool J.
Yeah.
When LL get up on there, man, let me tell you, man, just clear the way, because it ain't just love songs. He's knocking the wall out of the arena. So we champion each other. Listen, we champion each other. We were like, go ahead, win, because we knew a win that somebody else would do will lay the path for our game to be better. So we always looked at this as being competitive. And with Public Enemy, we had our message music. We were older, but the thing about it, we had to make sure that we laid the path and we was the security by the door. A party ain't jumping off if the security at the door ain't right. Y'all know that. That's the hip-hop number one rule. Security got back right, then the party could jump off.
Chuck D, man. We got Chuck D, DJ Premier, Rich Nice. I'm going to ask one or two, and I'm going to let everybody jump in because Chuck, I don't even know if you noticed, man, my life changed. Like, I wouldn't have probably went to MTV had I not saw this moment 8 years prior. I'm celebrating 20 years at MTV. I came in 2000, September 2000, right? But in November the 7th, 1992, Alex Mejia, good friend of Davey D. Alex Mejia, great guy. And we were working at KMEL, but King Tech and I was so hip-hop that we didn't listen to nothing else. Like, everything else sucked to us. We didn't care, rock, whatever. We didn't care. Alex tricked me and said, I want to take you to a concert at the Oakland Coliseum. I said, fuck, all right, cool. Who is it? He said, Public Enemy. I said, I'm sold. Let's go. We had nosebleed seats, and y'all was opening up for U2.
Yeah.
And I had never in my life experienced anything like it. I hadn't really saw a show like that. I was so impressed that you guys were able to hold the attention of this audience that I couldn't recognize where they were from, who they were, their walks of life. And then you were able to open up for U2, and it opened my mind so much to, wait a minute, we got to expand. We need to be able to touch these people with what we do. We need to be able to touch these people. So when you bring up Prophets of Rage with Be Real and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, it made so much sense to me. And we had Tom on the show, and we were talking about his relationship with you, and then the kind of conversations that you guys would have, and we start talking about racism. And I want to play this clip back, what Tom had to say, and get your opinion on it. Here's Tom Morello.
And so that's one of the examples of like the ghost stories where it's racism and the murder of African Americans by police is as American as apple pie and baseball. And the idea that now it's always been happening, but now the fact that people can film it and it's more in your face gives us the opportunity to try to do something to stop it, because it's not stopping until we stop it.
Can we stop it, Chuck? Or how do we counter racism? Because we've seen, Heather said this a couple years ago, we're going to start seeing murder on TV, and now we're starting to see it. How do we stop it? Or what would you say we should be focused on as a community to eradicate this and get beyond this?
Well, one of the energies that you got to respect is that young people, young adults, younger adults have found the initiative to say, listen, this is our future, and we fight for the future that we want to have. And that's what I always tell a younger adult. Number one, they don't want to be told that they're youth. And they don't want to be euthanized, right, into being reduced to only kids, they kids and all that. That's an older person's narrative. An older person's narrative of, well, you'll get your time when you're ready. That's a bunch of bullshit. If you're 22 years old and you got 2 kids, you should be thinking like, man, I want to get a house, instead of some old head saying, you know what, when you get about 46, then you'll get your first crib. I mean, there's had been a motion in this country that says that you got to sacrifice your young years by thinking that you're the youth and you can't get grown until after you're 40. And leadership is 40 to 65. I believe in a retirement age at 65. Mm-hmm. I think after that, especially in government and administration, things like entertainment, whatever, athletics and all that, you can do it until the crock pot tips over. But in government, when you got a guy who's 75, who's the president, and 2 guys running against him who's 77 and 79 respectively, that's telling young people, when they talk about future, young people like, please get the fuck out of here. Future what? Yeah. I mean, do the math. Math is real. You're 78 years old. You're not playing with 10 years. I mean, you could go at any time. And what has to be done is that young people have to seize the initiative. And what they did is say, look, we're going to march upon our local. Yeah, police got to be reformed. Only thing we know is what's in front of our eyes. And we're going to make this administration in this city, in this town, respond to us and our strength in numbers. So they might not have a plan, but one thing they are saying is like, just like in basketball, they got positionalist basketball. What's happened with this movement, you got what you call leaderless movement. You can't point to one person and say, that's that person and that's that voice, so we're going to neutralize that. They rolled out in thousands. You can't point to who and all, because everybody's on a page of saying, we making change now. This is what made this different, because of the technology. an old head like me, I look at the initiative and looking at this clown 45 because I go way back with this dude creating this celebrity nonsense in New York. The fact that the United States of America elected a goddamn half-baked celebrity who got casinos that failed and all this other reality shows and whatnot and made him a president is the number one fallacy cancer that's going on in the world right now that don't address no issues to people of color or people who ain't part of the 1%. So that's that argument. And anybody say, well, it don't matter. Every tier group got to take on its own battles. I'm international, so I can have this on my poster board and saying we got to get this dude to quit now. But the average person looks at leadership or can look at leadership like right in front of their face, right in front of their town, and they step to that. Now, they might not have no answers because nobody got no damn answers now, and they put the pandemic in the mix, which further neutralized people. So our old head could tell a young movement like, beware of the same old game coming to you in new ways. Like, for example, what you going to do when the grid goes down by some accident? We all tied together technically in technology, but if the grid goes down, you can't communicate. So beware of all new tricks. Talk about the possibility of new sci-fi tricks to keep movement going. The connectivity and the collectivity will make you look at any kind of problem in front of you and make it and force it to reform. But it's got to have the foot on the gas. And the foot on the gas got to be involuntary almost, like your lungs move. If you're alive, you don't concentrate on your lungs breathing unless you got an obstacle or a deterrent in front of you. So it's not for an old head to lead. The old head's got to counsel, advise, be a consigliere like the Godfather side, and get the fuck out of the way because we're not talking about our future. I'm 60 years old. Do the math. I ain't fucking around with more than 20 years. 80 is really the period, and anything after that is overtime. And overtime sometimes ends in sudden death. So you're not talking about an old head in leadership. Old head don't lead young people. Young people or younger people lead young people. And stop calling young people kids and the youth. They not the youth. Even I challenge young people where I could talk to somebody 14 and they tell me and they use youth as an excuse. Heads want you to use youth as an excuse because they don't want you in their mix. So you got to be able to have the tools to build youth to take over and run things at 30 on up. You got to prepare them right. You can't fucking throw them in the box looking at them as competition. So when I talk to a young person, they give me that young excuse. I said, fuck out of here. You younger than some and you older than some. If you're 12 and you can't talk to a 9-year-old, then you just giving up your position. And you get mad if I give the 9-year-old the privileges that you think you earned at 12. So anybody could talk to anybody. And that's what you call leaderless movement, as long as the agenda is right and just. So I kind of counsel, I advise. When I saw my brother Killer Mike out there, I was like, yo, this dude could talk. And actually, Killer Mike and Run the Jewels, man, he brings it, man. And but these people ain't young. They're in their 40s. They at that stage. 40 to 65 is a solid leadership. I'm older than President Obama. And you see President Obama put 16 years into 8 years. Anytime a black person gets up in a position, you know they're going to bust their ass harder. Now, I don't get into conspiracy theories. The cats come with conspiracy theories and skull and bones and witness. See, I didn't look at when President Obama was elected like he was going to be Jesus. I knew that I have an hourglass and the clock is running, so how much can you get done while the clock is running? Because the clock stopped in 2016 with this motherfucker running the office now, and everybody all of a sudden wondering why shit is half-assed backwards. So you got to tell young people that their position to take the floor is leadership. You got to prepare them. You can't be a deterrent. So, it's police reform. People, you can't get into titles like, I'm speaking truth. Okay, well, what truth are you speaking? Yeah. It's true to some and false to others. So it's reform means to change it. It means to overhaul it. Sometimes it means to work on under the motor, under the hood. and get some parts right. But this whole thing of, well, I don't know if I'm old enough and somebody else going to do the goddamn job, that shit got to stop. Because if you're grown and you want the whoop to happen, and you want the whoop and all that to happen, and because you grown, you want to go to the party state to 5 and do what you got to do as a grown person, then you got to do that other side. I tell people quite easily, and I break things down in simple terms. Voting, it ain't no glow around voting. It's just something you have to do if you live in the United States of America, and that's just what it is. It's like washing your ass in the morning. Now, you don't got to wash your ass. There's no mandatory law out there that says your ass got to be washed. You don't have to do that. But you can't go around saying shit is stinking. So this is just a mandatory thing you got to do, and don't be looking for results, because that's like going outside wondering, like, do I look good? Do I look good? Don't set yourself up like that, dog.
Yeah, Chuck D,
it's
man.
something that you got to do.
Chuck D. Hey, yo, I'm loving it, too.
This is the quietest I've ever been.
Yo, I'm going to play this song, Chuck. Y'all, can y'all hang out? Because we got a lot of callers, man. I want to give them a chance to talk to y'all. Y'all got a few more minutes?
And me, too.
Okay, let's play State of the Union. We got Chuck D here. We got DJ Premier. Pay attention. Sway in the morning. Shade 45. Sway in the morning. Shade 45. Chuck D. DJ Premier. State of the Union. That's the name of the song. Available now. We got April on the line from Massachusetts. April, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, April.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing great. We got the icons on. Well, mine, they're humble servants of the culture and the music and the people, but I look up to them. April, go ahead. You got a question?
Me too. I mean, Chuck D been, influencing me since I was a small kid. I was probably maybe around 10 when, Fight the Power came out. But anyhow, I had met Chuck D down in New Orleans shortly after Katrina. I showed up with a bus full of students really trying to educate them on, being active members in the community, and so I'm still trying to do that work to this day. He may or may not remember meeting all my students, but
outside that school.
You remember that day when you were down there in the Ninth Ward?
Yep, I was shooting some video down there too.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
no worries.
Very close to my heart.
And we was like, we're gonna go meet Chuck D. But I think you pretty much answered what I really should tell these young people in some of your commentary already. But I attended a peaceful protest in my community, and I really am working with a group of young people to, really take some action and not let the fire die down. So my question to you is, what exactly do you think should be our most important thing to focus on beyond just voting or voter registration?
Well, number one, that's a good start. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I spell it ROAM. So, if you got problems that accumulated, that can happen all kinds of different ways. I think there's all kinds of different agendas that all work. When you see everybody talk about this needs to happen, that needs to happen. I think anybody that's older, when they run into somebody younger, you should touch their life. And I'm not a person that runs my mouth a lot. I usually listen and I watch. I listen and I watch more than I talk. It just seems like I talk a lot. When I do talk, immediately, like, for example, when I wanted to go after this whole Trump agenda, the minute I say that, now ABC News and the Washington Post be like, all right, Chuck said this. So I know when I say things, I need to say things. I know when I just sit my ass quiet and don't say nothing. So there's a times when you talk to a younger person or a person or anybody, you try to touch their life. And then you start looking at a whole list of agendas that you want to knock off one by one. And listen, I do say this much. People want to get into change in the world. And it's hard and Primo could speak to this, Rich could speak to this, and also Sway and Heather. Listen, and Tracy, we've been around. We've been in places in the world. We've traveled to places in the world. So to say you want to change the world is a statement that you really seriously got to look at. Number one, you can't change anything if you can't change your own damn mind. You got to change. If you can't change your mind, you can't change your crib, people around you. You can't change your block. You can't change your town. These are things you can work on. Change your immediate reality before you thinking you could change the world. And collectively, it's a change in the world. We've gone to the world. We've seen the effects. Once upon a time, you could look at the United States or black folks or people of color in the United States and our movement, and the rest of the world was galvanized. But seeing whatever came out of the United States the last 10 to 15 years, people will say, well, people in the United States are privileged. They throw money at the cameras and video. They look like they're having a good time all the time. And that sets a certain animosity up that doesn't get balanced and clarified of our realities. So we want to be able to tell people the truth and say, yeah, we want the good times, but we got to be able to clear some of the bad times with the actual truth. And there's a long list of things. So being able to make change, if you can't change, and that's what the Revolution Televised was about by Gil Scott-Heron. He said being able to have the ability to change your mind. And the mindset of a lot of people in white supremacy in the world, especially in America, is that they don't even want to change their goddamn mind. So you get them to change their mind with a powerful force of movement and collective. And this is what people didn't expect to even happen when that officer or that cop, we give him the label of cop, killed George Floyd. He wanted the worst to happen, but he could never have any idea that the world would respond to that vicious act that he pulled on that brother. He intentionally wanted to see that brother go down slow. And he definitely had to be suicidal, like many police in trouble are when they get thrown up in situations, because he actually said, I don't care what happened. But he had no idea. And I say this as a last point, not to dwell on long, because I ain't going to be on the show tomorrow. So
you can be, Chuck. It's not a problem.
We can do part twos.
When you talk about a justice system, the thing I don't like is that the dude is a gang truce with fraternal order of police in the country. But police are not the same because they got counties. And whenever you have counties, every county think that they got their own fiefdom. They are king of the county. Yeah, that happens in that county, but it don't happen over here. When these counties, and there's thousands of them, go with their own jurisdiction, they got their own police force. Police are the watchdogs of government. And their own police force is not equally trained. You can't compare this police force where they save cats out of a tree versus this thing in a tight city where they go around handling people instead of dealing with people. So there's not even a uniform activity in police across the country. When they talk about reform, it's they want to see something uniform that we can actually look at, because they do get uniformed when something happens to one of them and they go into this gang thing of like, we all together and we all the same. No, you're not the same. So even with Chauvin right now, the dude that had hear me close, the dude that had his foot slowly killing George Floyd, have y'all heard from him? I'm asking everybody on this phone and in the air, and I'm asking everybody on this phone and in the audience, have y'all heard from him?
Not at all.
No.
Why the fuck not? Y'all ain't heard a peep from him. He's protected by what? Protected by the goddamn law.
The blue, yeah.
Protected by the goddamn law. And back in the 1800s or the early 1900s in those hick towns, right? They said, listen, this might be the law, but we citizens, fuck the goddamn law. We are the law. We want him to answer to this shit right now. Y'all ain't heard nothing. You probably never hear anything from him. He should be on ABC and CNN, and Don Lemon should be. So, Chauvin, what went through your fucking mind when you killed this man? No, you don't hear. You don't never hear from the crime or the criminal after the fucking fact. So people think they drift off the la-la land. And a lot of cats get off going to La La Land if they under the the FOP. Yeah. Y'all don't know what happened. You don't follow what happens to somebody. Oh, I hope he gets the murder charge. Then the fuck what? He gets the murder charge. He disappears, and y'all don't keep track because everybody else got to deal with their life. So you got things like this that needs to be able to get examined. And here's another case in point. And I'm sorry we spent a long time on you, April, but listen. When Timothy McVeigh, listen to me, y'all. Timothy McVeigh. What do y'all know about Timothy McVeigh? Sway, we go back to Noah's Ark. You know damn well we knew Timothy McVeigh. What happened? Tell the audience.
With Timothy McVeigh?
Yeah.
He blew up in 1995, I think. In the mid-'90s, he blew up a federal building. And
what happened to him? What happened to him, Sway?
What happened to Timothy McVeigh? What happened, Chuck?
They wiped his ass off the face of the earth so fucking quick. You don't remember a goddamn trial. They didn't want that attitude to spread. They eliminated him. They evaporated him quickly.
And he was, yeah.
People don't even know what happened. Because the government said, "Nah, we can't have this shit spread. We can't have this type of animosity or this counter attitude." Now, I'm not saying that Chauvin should actually, because I don't want the karma on my fucking soul and body to say what should happen to him. But I'm saying that symbolically, it has caused so much strife and bullshit that this dude, the government, if it was up to them, they would eliminate him quickly without y'all even knowing. So I'm saying the crime that Timothy McVeigh did, this crime was equally as heinous because of its symbolic effect. Mm-hmm. But you ain't going to hear from Chauvin, and who knows? He could drift off and be in Costa Rica, and in some kind of villa and shit. Y'all wouldn't know. So the law kind of protects the criminality of crime against lesser bands. Yeah. And the law is not just because they don't treat everybody the same. And when the police actually kill somebody, they treat it like a military hit. You don't see nobody like going to jail for a military hit because they killed for the flag, right? I mean, they did, years ago when I was a kid, and they took Lieutenant Calley in Vietnam when he just was full of piss and vinegar, and he kind of just bombed up a town on his own judgment call, killed everybody in a Vietnamese town, and then they brought him up on charges. As a kid, 11 and 12-year-old, I was like, wow. They why are they going to arrest this military soldier for killing up a town full of, of the quote-unquote enemy? I thought they in the army and you're supposed to kill everything in your path. So you got these twisted mentalities even wrapped around patriotism, war. The Cowboys is going to fix shit. And number one, when you separate yourself from the struggles of people, you can't go nowhere with yourself or your people. You can't even collect. We can't separate ourselves from the indigenous people who they miscalled Indians because Columbus fucked up and thought he was going to India. So he said, oh, yeah, these people over here, I guess they might as well be Indians. You can't separate yourself because these atrocities, what happened in Greenwood in 1921, where Trump goes and has his first speech, although they might have not noticed the symbolic audacity slap in the face, but we did. But before Greenwood, there's tons of quote-unquote indigenous setups across the Americas that got wiped out and eliminated and all that. So if you got all this in the conversation, it's a lot to concentrate on trying to fix in one day, one movement, 1 month. That's why I just symbolically in State of the Union, it's simply put, eliminate the cancer at the top and begin the process to work its way down and across. Simple as that. Dude just don't need to be fucking president. Fuck November. Dude needs to leave in July. I was 12 when I saw Nixon say, yo, I can't do this no more. That's all we want to do. Go back. Yo, man, go back to your reality shows. Go back to your whack-ass casinos, your whack-ass hotels. Go back to the fucking USFL, man. Just don't go, man. Go. That's all I'm saying. So that's my statement for the moment. And I sit quietly in the wings and enjoy the United States of America because it's a great place when it's right, but it ain't been right.
April, thanks for your call. There you go, April. You're a citizen. Give April a round of applause.
In the morning.
McVeigh was executed in 2001.
Yeah.
Lethal injection.
Same year that the World Trade Center went down and all the planes went down.
Yeah.
What month was he executed? Now, I'm not a conspiracy theory.
No, he was executed June, but here's the crazy part. He was executed June 11th. July, August, September 11th. 9/11 is when.
9/11.
Then the 9/11.
Cats be rolling to me with their conspiracy theories, and you know what I tell them? It saves me too. Yo, man, this is da-da-da-da. I say, yo, man, I believe everything and nothing at the same goddamn time.
Yeah. Chuck D. Tracy, go ahead and ask your question real quick.
Yeah, I have something that I think you'll answer really quickly, and then I have a second one if we do have a time. But my first one is, Chuck, and Preem, if you want to jump on this, please feel free to. So many folks are actually offended by the term old head. They would never want someone to call them, to refer to them as that, let alone refer to themselves. Why do you choose to call yourself that?
Because I'm old. 60 years old. Do the math. I'm entering my third quarter. I did a song with my man Jahi. Big up to my brother Jahi of Enemy Radio, DJ Lord, C-Doc. I did a cut called Listen Up. And Listen Up, matter of fact, I'll get it over to y'all to play. Listen Up breaks down life in 4 quarters. The 4 quarters, your 0 to 20 is your first quarter of the game. You getting you understanding who you're playing and what it is. You're getting all your shit together. Second quarter establishes your tempo, and if you can actually stay ahead of the game and make it to halftime. Halftime is 40 years old. Third quarter will determine whether you're going to win or lose the game. And many people lose in the third quarter. Y'all Golden State Warrior fans and some of y'all, they were third quarter victory squads, man. They just destroyed you in the third quarter.
That's
Fourth quarter, if you ain't back too far, if you even get there, it's your last quarter. That's from 60 to 80, right? 40 to 60 is the third quarter. Anything after that is overtime. And that sometimes ends in sudden death. And many of my brethren are not even making it out of the third quarter. So we tell people to take care of your health, take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. But don't get twisted. 60 years old, you are not what you consider part of the young bracket. 60 on up or 50 on up, which is the 50-yard line, you are considered part of the older bracket. So being old head, it's a gift. The only currency in life is life and time that you get. Fuck all of what you gain and what you could buy and what you can. If you get a year, that's the best currency you could ever have. So being called old is a gift. Trust me. And that's how the rest of the world has always worked. It don't work based on pop charts, analytics, algorithms, and data and all that bullshit, metrics. No, man. Age is a gift, and that's why I like to talk about music. I like to brag about DJ Premier. I like to talk about, how, Shay and what y'all do at the radio station Sirius XM, which I think is the best radio in the world. It allows me to listen to y'all and also go and listen to 60s on 6 all the time. And my guys are on Eddie Johnson and Justin Termini over there at NBA Radio. I love to stay. That's why I love to talk about all the time. And these things normally come out of me in a political thing because if I'm asked, then I answer in my age bracket. I'm not afraid of that. I have a saying. At the age I am now, if I can't teach, I shouldn't even open my mouth to speak.
Chuck D. Preem, you want to jump on that?
Shit. I feel like everything Chuck said is always a lesson and a teaching to me, which is why this is one of the reasons why we always confide in the Public Enemy whenever a record drops from any of their albums. Our whole upbringing, because I used to do a lot of wrong in the street when I was coming up, and I even know other people that did what I did in the past that was illegal, and they would literally say, "Damn, man, Chuck, the way Chuck talk on these records, the shit is hardcore, but it makes me want to stop doing illegal shit because of the way he was able to talk the language of the streets, but still do it from an intelligent way, but still hard, where the most ignorant and just, rebellious individual can actually say, you know what, I'm going to listen because he's saying it the way that's going to get me to even lend an ear to change my mind, my way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So I love just hearing these words, applying it to my life every day. And I'm 54, so I'm nearing 60. And like you said, we are servants to this culture, and I always say, like with hip hop, you never outgrow hip hop. I'm not gonna be 70 years old going, oh man, I used to love that music when I was a kid. Nah, you love it forever because it's a cultured music. It's not something that was microwaved up, So that's the reason why I continue to do it at a high level, and I always feel like I'm still that important to it, and I feel like if I stop, it's going to lose a certain amount of traction to survive. You know what I'm saying? It's like starving yourself. I'm not going to starve myself when it comes to this culture, so I keep making sure that is well fed properly.
Okay, man, that's DJ Premier and Chuck D. Rich Knights, you want to jump in?
Absolutely. Chuck, I found out today that we are actually kindred spirits as well, because I never had coffee in my life either, so I'm in good company. I thought I was the only one. I felt so weird when people say that, and I was like, I don't drink coffee. But I'm glad you talked about the education part. As a hip-hop educator myself, I like to leave with homework. So the last poets just had a 50th anniversary of vocalizing all the injustice over the years. Two quick things. What is your favorite last poet's piece? And what are you reading right now? What book are you reading right now?
My favorite Last Poets piece is the one they asked me to be on, Down to Now. I was on a Last Poets project. Those are my older brothers, and they bring me in as part of their I'm one of the young bloods that keep the Last Poets going. The original Chuck D is my man Alba because his name is Charles Davis. So every time he comes up to me with his eloquent voice, like, "Hey, Chuck D, I'm the original Chuck D. I'll be a Doon, but I'm Charles Davis, but I'm the original one." So, I mean, I got 5 libraries. But listen, man, I throw all that glow off of me. I'm just an old head. I'm in an OG mode. My older brother is Ice-T. So when Berg and I get together, we have a cup of tea, and he tells me things that he know, and I listen to him, and I respect that. So we have a tier, coming up. Eric B was always our unofficial union leader. You know what I'm saying? Eric B is the dude that will go right on up to a record company and says, "You need to get that artist over there more money and stop fucking around." And Eric would bring his boys up to somebody else's contract meeting and say, "Listen, you need to stop fucking around. Get this man more money." Eric B, man, is our unofficial union leader, man. So, I mean, I love to talk about hip-hop and rap and music. People like, "Man, Chuck, I got a personality. I spoke to many colleges and all that. I'm not a preacher. I ain't Jesus. And I don't hang out with people who ain't in my age bracket. My age bracket, I'm telling you, my age bracket, cats didn't follow hip-hop. I was the young, rebellious dude that followed hip-hop in 1978, 79 in my colleges when cats be like, "Yo, we come from Brooklyn, man. Get that hip-hop shit up out of here." And I'm from Long Island. I'm like, I love this music. I'm going to live this music forever. But I'm from the arts field. Yeah. I'm an artist. I graduated in 1984 from the arts field because I knew I could get in the record business as a graphic artist and a designer. That's what I do. I'm an arts person. I'm a hippie in many ways. But I will speak some truth to what people ask me because I say, listen, I can't give you the answers. But like Bruce Lee said, I can't teach you, but I can help you explore yourself. That's it. The answer lies in you. It don't lie in somebody else showing you and teaching you what you want to be anyway. So it wasn't telling people like, "Oh, yeah, you're doing the bad thing, and I'm going to report on you." Nah, I'm from Roosevelt, Long Island. It was at one time a 99% 1 square mile black town on Strong Island where everybody moved from every borough to one town for a 10 to 12, 15, 20-year period. Drugs, alcohol, crime, jail, murder affected my life just like any other black person in the 1960s and 70s. And I just spoke against these things because I said, I know this shit's going to happen. It doesn't make me prophetic. If you see a tree leaning at 45 degrees, you can't take credit for when it hits the ground. You could just say, that tree's leaning and that shit going to fall. That's simple. That's the simple aspect of my life. I'm not complicated. I'm probably one of the most simple people that you ever would find because really, that's just me. But I'm not, my private side, who I am, is not for fucking public sale. I don't put myself out there. I'm real simple. But if somebody needs an answer on what they see in this society, it's my obligation and duty to untwist them on what they see, because that leadership, when they start looking at themselves in a higher plane, not me. It ain't about a one person. And that's what I love the most out of these movements. It's a leaderless movement. It's strength in numbers. It's Golden State Warriors 4 or 5 years ago. It can come from anywhere. They got no superstars. It's coming, and it's coming relentlessly. That goes out to you, Sway. You know I got to get it.
Yeah, that's
Chuck,
what he
thank
doing
you.
it for, 'cause it ain't for
Chuck,
me.
I love it, man. Salute, man. Oh, man. That's going to become a sweeper. Hey.
And that's hard for me as a Knicks fan. That's hard for me to say as a Knicks fan. It's very hard for me to say.
Yo, I'm loving it. That's why nobody interrupting right now. Yo, give Chuck D a round of applause. I love you, Chuck. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for being on the show.
Yes.
If I never told you, I know I have, but I love you, brother. And Primo, I love you too. And thank you, man. Chuck, come on, man. This show, this platform, your platform, man. This platform is your platform. Send me some music. I love to play some of the new music.
I just like sitting on the other side of the radio. I like sitting on the other side of the TV. I don't like to run my mouth, but a lot of people have been saying the last few minutes, what Chuck gonna say? We need Chuck to say something. We gonna do no. So I try to, that's what I said, man. Salute to my brother Primo, kindred spirits, and every time I see Primo, and Primo sees me, we got TUMS as our code.
Tums. All right. Hey, Preem, thanks for being on this morning, too. DJ Premier.
Preem.
Give Premier a
Yes,
round
love
of
you,
applause.
Preem.
Hey, is it an album coming out with you, too, or is it just this song?
August 1st, when I turn 60, it's nothing is quick in the desert, and got some surprises, and then another one that Flavor is producing at the end of the year, right? Believe that, right? I mean,
yep.
Me and Primo alongside him with training wheels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, why not?
We're gonna help put.
Why not? He's 40 years in the game, and Flavor is producing an album that we're looking forward to participating with. So that's coming later on in the year. But August 1st, on my birthday, we got something coming out, and I'll get it to y'all. I mean, I don't never ask anybody for anything. So I'm on the other side looking in. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Love you, Chuck D. Primo.
Love you
Love
too.
you as well. Rich Nice.
Love
Thank
y'all
you,
too.
brother. Okay.